This is an Awakening Zone presentation, Human Empowerment Radio and Media for the 21st Century and Beyond.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show, the place where we unveil the keys to being the most extraordinary you. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Lambaer, and I'm so honored and delighted that you are here. If you'd like to redefine and expand your greatest potentiality, you've come to the right place. My intention in creating this show is to provide a platform and an opportunity for people to tune in and discover the keys to living healthy, radiant, youthful, rich, joyous, expansive, fulfilling lives. Doesn't that sound amazing? And truly, this is our birthright, and this is what I wish for all of us. We are ever-expanding beings living in an ever-expanding universe. And it is the premise of my work to show that we literally have the capacity to grow younger, stronger, deeper, richer, wiser, more flexible, more radiant, more beautiful, better in every way imaginable. Body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit. This is the place where you can come, bring your questions, and listen to the latest information on a variety of topics, from healing modalities that fly just under the radar to how to manifest more in less time with grace, ease, and fun. Learn more about health and wellness, sexuality and sensuality, spirituality, human potentiality, the dance of the divine feminine and sacred masculine, the quantum physics of beauty, and more. Each week, I will be inviting guest experts to join me in expanding this conversation and sharing their wisdom and insights. We are broadcasting live from beautiful Marina del Rey, California, on the Awakening Zone, the international network for empowered awakening. A huge thanks to Joe Rombolo and Linda and Jeff Hoppy for creating this amazing network. I invite each of you to call in and ask your questions. The call-in number is 714-364-4353, or you can log in to www.awakeningzone.com, the Dr. Elizabeth Show. This is the place for you to get the answers you are seeking. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, please feel free to visit www.drelizabeth.com.
Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the show today. I'm so glad that you're all here. I can see that there's lots of people on the switchboard and lots of people in the chat room already, and everybody listening archive, welcome one and all. You know, as many of you know, I'm a huge proponent of putting living foods into a living body as often as possible. So I am so thrilled and delighted to have my amazing guest, nutrition and raw food expert Kevin Hill, on the show today. I've seen firsthand in my own life and in the lives of all the people that I work with the profound benefits of a living foods lifestyle. Benefits such as healthier physical body, that's the exact size and shape that it was born to be, achieving your ideal weight and size, the ending of counting calories, ladies, forever, the end of counting calories, heightened intuition, and much more. So before we dive into this really juicy conversation, let me tell you just a little bit more about my extraordinary guest. So one thing you'll learn in our time together today is that Kevin is something of an enigma. He's one of these few bodybuilders who is 100% living foods, which is very rare in the bodybuilding industry. He is also the founder and the CEO of VitalChild.com, a website dedicated to bringing the best nutritional foods on the planet to pregnant mommies and children. A very unique career for a single man with no children. But he's going to tell you a little bit more about how he caught this vision and why he's bringing this beautiful company to everybody out in the world. So Kevin is a living raw food expert, and he's a living raw food bodybuilder. He's living proof that you can build muscle, strength, and physical power on a living foods diet. He's also the foremost expert on pre- and postnatal nutrition. He is the founder and CEO of ShopVitalChild.com and VitalChild.com, the world's safest and most effective natural products for pregnancy and children. So without further ado, please, everybody, help me in welcoming Kevin to the show. Welcome, Kevin.
Hey, Dr. Elizabeth. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my gosh, I'm thrilled.
Honored.
I'm so well, I'm honored that you're here. It's really a joy. It's really wonderful to have you here. You bring just a wealth of information on nutrition and health and wellness, and I'm especially in living foods, because there's a lot of misconceptions. I like to use the word living foods instead of raw foods, and there's a lot of misconceptions with that whole world, and so you bring a lot of expertise to this. So I'm thrilled and delighted that you're here. So thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the offer. Thank you.
Of course. So let's start with this beautiful vision that you caught about, which I just, it just makes me smile. That this single man who's a bodybuilder is starting a website for pregnant women and prenatal care and children. So I would love to hear, how did you catch this vision, and how did you get involved with VitalChild.com?
Well, it is my first. I was born kind of an interesting individual in the sense I was always looking to create a better world than what we have here. Even at the age of 6 or 8, I was born in a family of basically 9 other brothers and sisters, and definitely, clearly one of the the unique individuals. My dad called me a G-damn bohemian.
What did he call you?
He can I? Goddamn, is that a curse word?
Oh, bless his heart. He didn't know it. He didn't know what to do with you. He's like, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know what it was. I was too young to know what it was. I was proud of whatever I was, but I knew that he didn't like it.
Right. Well, it was different from what he was expecting and what he knew. Where do you line up in the family? Were you one of the older children or one of the babies?
One of the babies. Definitely one of the babies. And so it was interesting, always the oddball out, always the one having some challenges, and the one that gets picked on because it was an easy target. But blessed with a spirit that was resilient and loved who I was. So I've been fascinated by magic my entire life. The first thing I ever wanted to be was a magician. And I had horrible seborrheic dermatitis at the age of 12. I mean, it's an excessive cellular proliferation of the skin, so your skin cells turn over much quicker than they would in the average person. And dealing with it, I didn't know what to do about it. They gave me corticosteroids, and they said, you'll never be able to get rid of it. And it was horrible. I wrapped my head like the Elephant Man, literally in public rather than go out. That's how bad it looked. Imagine at 12 and 13 looking, wrapping your head like,
That's a tough age. That's a real tough age to go through something like that.
It is. Second you hit puberty, those hormones drive it nuts.
Yeah.
And so I did a lot of research. I just really did a lot of research. The doctors, I again, just being born, just a different kind of person. I always questioned everything and was critical mind, critical thinker. And went and did a lot of research and actually found a formulation that was very high in antioxidants, extremely high in antioxidants. It was the powder outside of the capsules. The worst thing I ever drank in my life. Imagine drinking pure synthetic raw B complex vitamin. It was just the worst thing ever. But it actually stopped it. And to me, that it literally transformed my life, because I was like, if I can shift something like this, and turn it into and stop my skin from breaking out, that's magic. That's exciting. I felt like I could control my whole life and my health, and that's what started me on my path and journey. And then I also, going fast-forwarding it all the way up to about 2007, I literally said, what do I want to do in the world? Was always looking for transformation, and said, you know what, I'm fast. I think the greatest access to changing lives is through the two segments of our society that the most malleable or the most willing to change are pregnant women and children, as far as lifestyles and diet. And I think pregnancy are so fascinating and kind of its own magic. So I figured that was a great way to publish cutting-edge news and information and create innovative, safest, most effective products available for that group. So just a passion really to change. What our slogan is, we create exceptional children that change the world.
So, I say that again. That's beautiful. Say that one more time.
Sure. It's creating exceptional children that change the world.
Wow. And I really want to just speak on some of the things you already shared with us because it's so rich. And it's important I really want my listeners to hear this because I know, my listeners are all around the world, and they're a beautiful group of highly spiritual beings who are, very sensitive and, really don't, quote unquote, kind of fit into the world the way it kind of appears right now. So I love what you were saying, and I really want people to hear this, how you took what was your challenge and your difficulty and you made it your blessing. And you really, not only your blessing, you made it your legacy, what you're leaving to the planet, and it came out of your own adversity. I love that. And this idea of magic is brilliant, this idea of really what we can transform. I know before the show, I just want to share with the listeners so they're caught up. Before the show, Kevin and I had our own pre-show conversation, which I wish we actually recorded because it was so beautiful. And one of the things we talked about, and I want the audience to really hear this too because they fit in this category, is that, we're all indigo children. We just came in the world a little earlier. And it was at a time, I'm 53, I don't know your age, Kevin, but I'm 53. I came in here in 1959. So it's before there was even a conversation about what an indigo child even was. And so we paved and do continue to pave the way. And I want the audience to hear that because who you are is special and what you have to give is special. And even if the world kind of looks at you sideways like, what? That means you're really onto something. When the world at large, the world that's listening to constantly negative news all by CNN and is looking at you sideways, you're really onto something brilliant. So I so appreciate you following your own passion and following your own heart, your soul's and your spirit's truth because it really models it so beautifully for everybody else to do the same thing in the world. So thank you so much for sharing that. Very
absolutely. I'll tell you very quickly that one of my probably my favorite ad campaign ever is by Apple, and it's it's the one where they're saying think different.
Yes.
And if you think about it, those are all like celebrated individuals, but in their time, if you remember, they had Martin Luther King and they had Gandhi and these great individuals. They were all like vilified and in their time, they were not thought of as great people. So I'd say that one of the powerful factors for just guiding your own path and living your own life is to realize that every great individual in their time was castigated and looked down upon. And Tesla, I think the man who invented the radio, they literally put him into the insane asylum. That's a time where you didn't enroll yourself, or you wouldn't put yourself in, but some other people could put you into an insane asylum, and that's what they did to him because he said he could bring radio waves out of the air and put it into a box. He's crazy. So it's thinking different.
What are we doing right now? That's exactly what we're doing in this very moment right now on this radio show.
Exactly. They thought he was crazy, But all great thinkers,
Exactly.
Unique
so
individuals.
When the world says that to you, you can say, oh, this is fabulous. I'm in great company. And you're on the right track. And keep,
I'm on to something.
Yes, I'm on to exactly. If it doesn't quite fit in, because if it's fit into the world, someone else has already done it. It's not. I love Joseph Campbell was one of my very first forays into spiritual teachings and was my first spiritual teacher. And I remember the first exposure to him was I heard The Power of Myth, which was a 6-part series. I heard it so long ago it was on a VHS tape. It wasn't on a DVD. Kevin, a friend of mine gave it to me. It was a VHS tape. And I put the first one in around 9 o'clock at night. It was a 6-part series. I put the first one in at 9 o'clock at night. I literally was so captivated by what he was saying that I stayed up all night long. I could not go to sleep. I was so enamored by it. And I remember thinking that these physical ears were hearing for the first time what my soul has known for lifetimes. It was so profound and powerful for me, and it's that same concept, it's that same idea. And if and one of the things Joseph Campbell says is that if there's a path there, it was somebody else's path. Your path is where you're with the machete cutting it down and moving in your own direction and starting a new way. So what you're doing with Vital Child and what I'm doing in my own way with Dr. Elizabeth and what all my listeners are doing in all of their projects is carving a new path so that we can really help transform the world into what we know it can be, which is heaven here on earth. And I know that you're all about that. I'm all about that. And that's really, as light workers, what we came here to be.
Exactly. And I will tell you, you think about people wanting to fit in. I mean, the standard American wants to kind of fit in and kind of go with the flow of what's going on. But if you think about it, they're fighting and doing all this. Why would you really, not that we're any better or any worse than anyone else, but you want to fit into a dysfunctional society. Our society is not healthy. It's dysfunctional.
Exactly.
So what are you trying to fit into? That's the question.
And and this leads us perfectly into my next question, which is living foods. And I know I think you also use the term living foods more than raw foods, but I like to use the term living foods instead of raw foods because to me, with my experience in talking with people think when you say raw foods, you're going to hand them a carrot and a broccoli stick and say, have a nice day.
Right, exactly.
But it's not the case at all.
No.
So I was like really meditating one day and I was like, living foods. You put living foods into a living body. Well, that really makes sense. So let's talk.
Right.
I'd love to hear, your foray into this and what your take is on living foods, and then I'll share what mine is and why I'm so passionate about it.
Sure, absolutely. Well, for me, it is always about just optimizing health. And it's the same. That's the same mission for our company. It's optimizing the health of pregnancy and children, even optimizing the genetics. There's something called epigenetics, where you can literally your environment and the factors that are enhancing or impacting your environment literally impact your DNA and what triggers are switched on or off. You could have an identical twin, same DNA, cellular structure and everything, and one eats a processed standard American diet, let's say, and just two examples, and one has a living food diet, right? And they both have potentiality for cancer. Right? The one eating the processed foods that the body is basically chemicalized, toxins, destroying and impairing the cellular DNA, that person's, quote unquote, I think it's like a light switch. That light switch for cancer is turned on, right? But when your body is fully, and their counterpart, who's a living food person, their counterpart is eating food that is alkaline, highly alkalizing, let me say that. It alkalizes the body. It detoxifies the body. It protects, repairs, and defends the cells from, from oxidizers and the other toxins and chemicals in the world. They won't get cancer. Obviously, we'll all expire at a certain time, and whatever that time is, and from whatever way you go. But that same individual would not get, that light switch wouldn't be turned on because the body needs to be in an acidic environment in order to produce cancer. So they're pretty much they wouldn't have to deal with that. As an example. So, God, I guess I'm giving a long answer to the question.
No.
For me,
It's fabulous.
Okay.
Fabulous.
For me, it was about consistently optimizing literally body, mind, and spirit, always thinking of that way in healthy, natural ways to do it. And so when I was, years ago, I actually wanted to be vegetarian at 12 too, but my parents weren't into it, and I nearly starved to death because I didn't know what to eat, and it wasn't
right.
I didn't know what to eat, and they didn't buy anything that was necessarily vegetarian. So I went around buying little cans of beans and, rice, and it just was weird.
God.
It didn't work. I was all by myself.
Yeah.
And our society wasn't, as a child, our society wasn't very health conscious and still pretty much isn't. Getting better. But anyway, so fast forwarding, I slowly started moving out of it again, always trying to optimize my health. I said, I can't wait. I remember now, I'm remembering it. I can't wait till I'm an adult so I could become a vegetarian. Okay.
Wow.
I literally couldn't wait.
And what was the impetus for becoming vegetarian? Was it because humanitarian, because of the animals, or what was your reasoning for becoming?
My health. Honestly, at the beginning of it was just my health. I didn't, have the full, the holistic scope of how it impacted, the animals, the environment, our ecology, all the other great spirituality, all these other great benefits that it had. And I said, I can't wait till I became. And literally, when I got to college, I slowly started cutting back because I could eat at the refectory where they had food and you could pick out of whatever you wanted. And I could eat all I want of it. So I, cut out the red meat, cut out the poultry, cut out the fish. I was completely vegetarian. And then and then I had a friend who was like, well, vegan isn't, and dairy isn't that good for you. I was like, dairy's fine. Yes, it is. But being a critical, independent thinker, I went and did my research and studies like, oh, my God, she was right. I pulled that out of my diet and realized a lot of the allergic reactions and inflammation that was coming from eating the dairy products was like the final key, and it really shifted my life. And a lot of the nasal congestion and issues that I was dealing with, and bodily congestion and impact and all that. So then I stopped doing that, and still at that time, as a kid though, I'll tell you, I was very, very hyper chemicalized, hyper sweet. I could eat like all the donuts and cake. People don't eat the icing on the cake. I would eat all the icing, like all the work. So people's like, you've always been like. Now I would eat the worst. I probably ate worse than anybody who's listening to this. Listening to this, so my taste buds were hyper chemicalized. But then I continuing on, as a vegan, I was still eating a lot of the processed vegan foods, and working out, and it's still not good for you. That's the problem. And you can eat a lot of grains. I can eat pancakes all day. You get the inflammation,
or pasta, and that can it's terrible for you.
Yeah, the stuff is just sugars, and there's all kind. That standard sugar is, they use animal bones to process standard sugar, but there's still all kind of other sugars and sweeteners that'll still make you fat and cause insulin spikes and all that. So I shifted into, but I was eating that because that was the closest. They have all these processed food from Eve's and all that still remind you of, what you were a meat eater. It's a good transition. And as I became more and more educated and researched, I have tons of huge, massive library. I was always reading. I started transforming my diet better, and I became. I remember I was doing all my workout, but it still wasn't quite. My 6-pack and everything. Trying to get it. And my friend would give me a thumbs down, like, "Oh, you're not. You don't have a 6-pack." I was like, "Darn,"
Oh.
Like, no, you're still not. You're. It's like, darn. Like, I'm vegan. Like, why wouldn't I be? And then I really started reading about the raw food lifestyle, Gabriel Cousins, a lot of the other gurus out there, and started really reading about it. And I was like, oh, no, I've been bodybuilding and lifting. I was like, God, I remember praying and saying, Lord, please don't let me lose all my muscle. Because my optimum allegiance is to cellular health at the cellular level, above and beyond, and protecting the cells and all. And if that required removing all of these processed foods and living foods, and I was like, okay, so be it. So started going down that road, and honestly, I don't eat sugars or grains. I don't eat any grains either.
I don't eat.
It's fascinating to tell you what I don't eat. I don't eat any grains. Sugar's only on the weekend, and it's not the standard sugar. It will be, pretty much stevia type of thing, or coconut sugar, that kind of stuff that don't cause insulin spikes. because Candida is still present, in most of us, actually. Right. So I didn't want things that spike insulin or anything like that. My glucose levels, I wanted to keep it and maintain that being stable. My father and grandmother both passed away from diabetes. So, yeah, I was very very cognizant of that. So, but the amazing thing, now I work out at Gold's Gym, which is considered the Mecca. It's probably the world's greatest gym. I mean, people come literally from all over the world, and they're taking pictures every day. You're working out with people like Lou Ferrigno. You're working out with some of the greatest bodybuilders, in the world, and currently, and historically, and. So as I started my journey, the amazing thing was that, first of all, my recovery was quicker. If I had an injury, and I'm very much a mechanic, they call me the mechanic because I'm very methodical about how I lifted my form, but just twisting a slight way, you might do something if you're lifting very heavy, which I do. So recovery is very quick. And the very cool thing is my body completely just leaned up, ripped up. I actually became stronger and more muscular. And I had people like Charles Glass coming over to me. And very often, even to this day, the bodybuilders come over to me like, how do you lift so much? How are you lifting that heavy a weight? Now I'd love to lift heavy. Yeah, I got stronger. And to me, it was the clear signal from the universe or God or the creator, whatever your belief system is, that this is how I designed you. You're eating from nature. These are the living foods, the phytonutrients, everything is present, and even all the greens, all the amino acids and greens actually have protein, and many of them have higher assimilability and a higher percentage of protein than beef, like kale, like parsley, like spinach. These are all higher percentages of protein than meat. They just have different amino acid factors, but your body, food combines itself. So if you've got one source of protein over here, you've eaten kale over here, and then you've eaten, let's say, yellow pea or brown rice protein, or your body puts it all together and makes it a perfect amino acid complex itself, even just from eating foods. So I got stronger. More love in my heart, higher spiritually, more intuitive. So some great stuff came out of. I would never, ever, ever, and they say never say never. I'm saying I would never go back to eating, a cooked food diet. A lifestyle. I live that lifestyle, I should say.
Absolutely, I'm in complete alignment with you. And you said so many powerful things. I want to go back just to outline because you said some very high-level, sophisticated comments, and I want to kind of break them down for our audience so that they really understand, because there was such richness in what you were saying. So first of all, I'm in complete alignment with you. I myself am 100% living foods also. I would never go back, and because it makes your body, how can I equate it? It's literally like, to me, when I put this food into my body, I can literally at this point feel the cells of my body receiving. Me
too. Yes. I can feel my blood.
Oh my God! When I juice in the morning, I can literally the cells are like, yes, you're giving us food that's energy, and you need the part. And I know I mentioned in the introduction we don't have to count calories anymore. This is really for women. This conversation right here is mainly for women. I just want to say, ladies, when you take on a living food lifestyle, that means eating food that's not cooked over 118 degrees, you don't ever have to count calories ever again. Because what happens is that with dead food, the reason people eat so much food that is cooked is because it's lacking in nutrients, and therefore they have to consume more. And that's why you see so many people who are overweight, and why the obesity rate is what it is today. And when you put, I know you know this too, Kevin, when you put living foods into the body, just a little bit, like I'll have a juice in the morning, and it's just like, woo! I mean, the energy level I rocket, and I take my smoothie to the gym, and I'm like, I'm good to go. And Kevin and I are both at Gold's Gym for, I'm there for 2.5, sometimes, for between 2 and 3 hours every single day. That's a lot of time working your body hard, And with that nourishment, I'm completely sustained. So I'm completely in alignment with all that. And I want people to hear that so they know this is really a powerful lifestyle that can help you on so many different levels. I want to go back and break down alkaline, because you talked about, because one of the things that we both know is disease cannot exist in an alkaline body. So can you break down for my audience what alkaline is versus acidic, and what that means for them, and how they can incorporate more alkaline into their body?
Sure. Well, obviously, there's a pH of food. There's, and you know what? Actually, this is very fascinating. I have a guru that I work with and study with, and we move his products. God, I'm just like literally spacing. Just spaced. Robert. Robert. God, I'm spacing his name. He is an expert, but to get to the point, really more specifically on pH and alkalinity, there's pH foods that have a certain pH, right, of a higher pH food that are going to create a greater alkalinity, or lower pH food. Am I flipping that? That are going to create more acidity in your body. It's not about the pH food, what the pH of the food is. For example, you've got something like lemons, that are more acidic foods, right?
Right.
But they cause the body to be alkaline.
Which is what we want.
Which is what you want.
It is very fast. Which is what we want.
Isn't it?
So I want people to know we want our body to be in a state of more alkalinity, because that's how it stays healthier.
Right, and obviously it is balancing, all of that. And you don't want to be too alkaline, or you don't want to be too acidic, but it's really important that your body is definitely leaning towards alkaline, being more homeostasis, because in a homeostasis situation, because your body is not able to actually feed diseases and feed viruses, et cetera, that feed in an acidic environment. So the greens, when you've got processed foods like meats, dairy, processed grains, these foods create acidity in the body. The standard American diet is an acidic nightmare. They cause acidity in the body. So what happens is your body, the acid that builds up in your body needs to protect itself, and your body is absolutely brilliant. Okay? Mm-hmm. It's going to compensate. So it's going to use something to buffer the acidity, right? Here's a perfect example, milk, right?
Yes.
So you drink a thing of milk, right? Your body becomes acidic, right? What does the body do? It doesn't want to be bathed in acid. What does it do to protect itself? It buffers. The buffer for acidity is calcium.
Yes.
Right? So milk does a body good, right? Well, not exactly.
Not
no, it doesn't.
Not true.
Not at all. We're the only species that drinks cross another species to drink its milk. It makes no sense. It would be like me. It would be like me wanting to breastfeed from a woman. I'm a grown man. You know what I'm saying? That would be better, because at least we're human to human, but certainly not cross species. And so anyway, what the body does is it's going to buffer it with calcium, and it calcifies things and starts hardening it. Okay, you have glaucoma, you've got stiffening of the arteries, the joints, and where is it getting the calcium from? It's pulling it from the bones, right?
Because it's from our own calcium source.
Yes, it's pulling it from the most abundant calcium sources that we have, right? So it's pulling it from there, and it's causing all kinds of issues. Calcifying the body is the ultimate destruction of it. Right, so it's hardening this section of the body. It's causing you to calcify, arthritic conditions, glaucoma, achy joints, et cetera, et cetera.
Osteoporosis. for women.
Yes.
It's a big, big thing. It depletes our calcium. Huge. It depletes our calcium in a huge way.
Yeah, and if you think about it, how could the countries that are the highest in dairy consumption are also the highest in osteoporosis?
Exactly.
And the countries that are the lowest, like China, these women are carrying heavy, especially the rural women. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry?
Oh, and also in Africa, they're carrying all of these heavy things, and they're stronger with no osteoporosis.
They don't drink milk. They're very low, very, very low. I certainly in China, I know about them because of the China study and all the work that was done over there by T. Colin Campbell. But anyway, so they don't, osteoporosis is strange. I think to also go further into this, I guess I may be going slightly off topic, is that exercise is the key, right, to potentiate all of this. So people's like, well, why are there so many wafy, thin, they look like they're about to snap, they look like their bones are about to snap, raw foodists, And it's an interesting thing because what it actually is very similar to the standard American individual. I hear that I don't know if the statistic is right, but I've heard it somewhere before. About 10% of the population actively exercises. I mean, they're serial exercises. Right. They actually, they have an actual lifestyle. It's their lifestyle, right? So the average American on the standard American diet is actually going to gain weight because there's so many toxins. There's so many things that their body is trying to, the fires its body is trying to put out, that it's going to convert it into fat sources and just store it in the adipose tissues of the body wherever it can, while it's fighting all the other toxins it's doing. Conversely, a raw vegan, right, and many of them, another area I want to get into, especially with women, many of them are low-fat, raw vegan. They live a low-fat, raw vegan lifestyle. Okay, that's insane. It's like, and it's because what you're doing, if you're living a really low-fat, you're going out of your way. Let me just say, obviously, if you're going out of your way to prevent eating any kinds of fat, you're going to be in trouble.
And we're talking we're talking the good fat. We're talking like coconut oil, pure virgin olive oil,
nuts,
avocados.
Nuts,
yes, we're talking about not the bad fat, not the processed like that kind, or the fats you get in junk food or things like that. We're talking about, and I'll tell you, as a woman, I grew up in the era of non-fat. So for a long, long time, I would really avoid all the fats, and it was really, really bad until I went into a raw food lifestyle. And now I have coconut oil every single day, avocados every single day. It's food that, in my mind, the way that the media would have told me 10, 15 years ago with the non-fat, you would have thought I would have blown up, and my body got leaner, stronger, better, and my skin at 53 is more amazing than ever because of these beautiful. Oh, I don't mean like what I mean I thank you for saying that. But what I mean by that is like it's gotten better because of those oils which lubricate not only the joints, it heals the skin, and so it's much better. So I love that you said that because we have a lot of women listeners right now. I love that you shared that. And real quickly, before we go on to the next thing, I have to put in the plug. There's a lot of women I see right now drinking coffee, which depletes you tremendously. The Starbucks thing. Also, carbonated beverages, Coke, Pepsi. They're all, it's criminal. And between that and junk food, your body, it's like literally putting poison into your body. If you drink I won't pick on one or the other, Coke or Pepsi, either one. If you drink a carbonated beverage, your body goes down to a pH of below 2. That's death. So now it has to steal the calcium from your bones just to bring it back up to the pH of 7, which is a normal balance.
Exactly.
So I want women to hear that so that they know every time, and the older you get, the more you've been here on the planet, not the older you get, the more you've been on the planet, the more challenging it is when you do this. So that's why you see these women, and they look depleted. And then when you get into this whole challenge with losing your sex hormones, especially for women, perimenopause and menopause, you're really on top of the sad American diet, which puts weight on you. Now you've lost your sex hormones. Now that's why there's women that are in their late 40s and 50s who look, quote unquote, old because and they don't have to. They can be looking vibrant and alive and youthful and sexy and juicy and delicious. And it's all of these,
which is how we men like them, juicy and delicious.
Yes, exactly. Like that is what we were talking about. So I wanted to put that plug in for the women listening. So if you get nothing else out of this but to put more living foods into your lifestyle and your diet and get rid of the diet Cokes, Diet Pepsis, or the carbonated beverages and the junk food,
coffee.
You're going to see a shit. Oh my gosh, coffee is a whole. If you Dr. Perricone did a study that if you just give up coffee for I think it was like 6 weeks, you lose 20 pounds. Just giving up coffee. That's how much it puts weight on you.
I've got some stuff to add there, actually. I'm very, very excited. Obviously, a lot of my work is with women, obviously pregnant women, and it's got a definite message for pregnant women. I love that you brought up the coffee thing because driving into Gold's every day in the morning, people are right before work. The line to the Starbucks is like, that's the surest sign that there's a problem. The standard American person is going into Starbucks and they're in lines. That should automatically tell you something that most people are doing. It almost goes back to the beginning of our conversation, thing different. Right. Without education, you know it must be something wrong. So to get into that, instead it's really going to benefit women on coffee. First of all, you're right. It depletes your adrenals, right? Yeah. And it's going to completely deplete your adrenals. Now look at how this is going to impact their health and their pregnancy. First of all, in their whole reproductive system, a lot of women get PMS.
Yes.
Right? What it also does, it blocks mineral absorption. Okay?
Yes.
One of the key minerals that it's blocking, the most key mineral that it's blocking is magnesium. Okay? Mm-hmm. Most of the population is deficient in magnesium, whereas magnesium easily found in greens. Okay?
Yes.
So these women are doubled over, right, with magnesium deficiencies because they're PMS. But basically, let me tell you why. Magnesium is a flower. It allows things to flow. It deposits, when you have magnesium calcium supplements, it allows the calcium it puts the calcium into the bone. It keeps things flowing. Right?
Right. It works together with the calcium. Like you need the magnesium there with the calcium for the calcium to uptake. Yes.
Yes, completely. Okay. So it is facilitating that, but with a lack of calcium, with a lack of magnesium, right, you have a lot of women that are having these PMS symptoms, okay? They're depleting their adrenals, which also depletes their hormone levels, thus depleting their sexuality, also depleting their reproductive function, impacting their reproductive function. Okay, now conversely, you can take something that's going to enhance and help the adrenals, right? Goes the exact opposite direction. Because let me also say that with the caffeine, it's a short-term fix. It stimulates the adrenals and then drops them down and depletes them, which is why you have to continue to get coffee every day. My mom was the worst coffee addict I'd ever seen in my life. She would literally go into shakes and shiver. Yeah, and that was the thing that kept me from being an addictive personality. She scared me so much as a little kid that I never want to be addicted to anything. I mean, it's like that's how scary it was. So I knew like a coffee or drinking or drugs or anything like that. She was that scary. Okay, but anyway, so conversely, I would say there are what's called there's a tuber called maca. Okay, high up in the Andes, and it's completely the exact opposite. It's from the Andes. It's ground up into this great powdered living, and it actually replenishes and nourishes the adrenals. Okay, so what it's also doing on the other hand of it, it is balancing your hormones. It's replenishing and making your entire reproductive system healthier. So conversely, whereas the other one's giving you PMS and depleting your hormones, you're actually getting what's the polite word I could use for more amorous? I used that word earlier. A woman is going to get more amorous, as is a man, because it's balancing our hormones. It's putting them back in the state where they need to be and giving us a more vibrant
state.
Yes,
so
and it's
really
natural
state. More natural state.
Yes, and I will tell you, most people are going to experience a heightened level of interest in sexuality because they're not used to, they're so used to being depleted. The other thing, again, showing you the power of how it's balancing, how this maca, M-A-C-A, is balancing your system, is that you will also have a higher potential of getting pregnant. So just being aware of that as well. But this is all still good stuff. You just, you watch what you're doing. Your man's going to be happier.
You're going to be happier.
What did you say?
You're going to be happy. The man's going to be happier. And I love what you're saying. It speaks to what I speak about in my book, Skinny Dipping in the Fountain of Youth, which is at any moment we're at 0 point infinite possibilities. What quantum physics teaches us. And so at that
I think your signal's getting a little weak, Dr. Elizabeth.
So at every moment we're at 0 point infinite possibilities. Quantum physics teaches us this. So what that means is that you wake up in the morning, you have a choice to go to the kitchen and make a rich green juice that will sustain you and make you feel amazing and heal you, or you can go line up with everybody else at the Starbucks or the In-N-Out for dinner or whatever, and you're going to treat yourself. But that's what you were saying. At every moment we have that choice, and the choices will either take us spiraling upward into health or downward into a very pejorative, dangerous cycle of disease and dysfunction and death, ultimately. So thank you for breaking that down. Let me do this. It's such an amazing conversation. And first of all, I'm looking at the time, and so we haven't even scratched the surface of what we have to chat about. So instead of anybody else, Kevin, I'd love to invite you back sooner than later in the next couple of weeks to have you come back for a wealth of extraordinary knowledge. And this is stuff that is rich information that I really want my listeners to have. So we have to take a little quick break here and make an announcement, and then after that we're going to come back and I want to share a little bit more in the amount of time we have. And will you come back and share more with us? Absolutely, I'd love to. I've got so much more to say. I know you do. Okay, so let me go ahead here. This show, the Dr. Elizabeth Show, is hosted on a beautiful network called the Awakening Zone Network. And like I love to share with people each week, there's the mass majority of the people right now are tuning into the CNNs, and those kind of channels, constantly negative news. And so this is the antidote for that. This is a network that offers extraordinary programming, extraordinary information, such as which Kevin's sharing with us today, that helps enhance our lives, body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit. So if you enjoy this, I welcome people to tune into these other shows. They're offered completely complimentary to people all around the world. I have listeners from Asia and from South America and from Europe, from everywhere, that tune in each week to listen to my show. And so I welcome you to tune in. There's some really extraordinary programs on the Awakening Zone Network. So I'm going to share with you a couple of these. And all these times are Central Time. So Breath of Life at 7 p.m. Central Time with Norma Delaney and Garrett Anofsky. Cosmic Particles is at 8:30 Central Time with Dr. Meg Blackburn-Losey. And then Thursday at noon is one of my previous guests. She's an amazing animal intuitive. She's incredible. And her show's at noon Central Time. It's called The Animal Code with Asia Voigt. So I welcome you to tune in. Go to their network. You can listen to archive episodes of my show and many, many other shows. So I welcome you to check all of that out. I also wanted to mention that I'm leading a workshop on October 29th. It's a virtual workshop I'm leading with a world-renowned numerologist, Julian Michael, and we're doing this. We set it at a time where pretty much everyone around the globe is going to be able to tune in and listen to it, and it's going to be all about how to navigate the energies of the last 3 months of 2012, how to manifest more, how to be healthier, how to really handle what's coming at us right now with all of these changes with 2012. So all of that information will be on my website, www.drelizabeth.com. It's DRELIZABETH.com. So I also want to share with you Kevin's information. So Kevin, he has two extraordinary sites. The first is Shop Vital Child. It's ShopVitalChild.com. He has incredible blogs, incredible information. I was on the site all this week just checking things out because I knew you were going to be my guest. Beautiful information, just a wealth of information. He also has some incredible products. And so I welcome everybody to go and to check that out. And he also has Vital Child, which both sites will lead to each other. And do you have, is there a professional, like an 800 or a professional number that you can give to people as well if they want more information on your site?
They can call our customer service line, which is 562-372-4222. And we don't have an 800 line just because it is, pretty much nationwide anyway, it's pretty much free now with our cell phone services for the most part. So, yeah, it's not necessary anymore as much. We may get one day, but there's something I also wanted to give to women when you're back and ready.
Okay, yes. So I just wanted to share that with people so that they have that. And I know when you come back, what we're going to do is we're actually going to offer people just a special package. So I want you guys, I will announce when Kevin comes back next time, and he's going to be very generously going to offer us some really beautiful things. So I want you guys to make sure you mark your calendars and stay tuned for that. So I know you wanted to share something. So go ahead, Kevin, please.
Yeah, I just think that stories are sometimes the best illustration of how to get a concept across. And I do train individuals mostly that are vegetarian, vegan, or raw that are looking to gain similar results to myself. I will say as well, like you said, I don't count calories. I don't count calories at all. Imagine if I did, I could be as big as, I really wanted to put on like tons and tons of massive weight. I've got more of a Tarzan body than an Incredible Hulk body. That's what I could say. And that's what I've always wanted. I used to look at Michelangelo's David and draw cartoons and comic books with those I like that lean body look.
Yes,
I do
too.
Yeah, so I flexibility, and for me that represents longevity and health and being able to move in my body really well. So I'll tell you, though, there's a unique instance that happened recently where a good friend of mine was looking to transform her life as a fitness person and get out of the standard diet for fitness models, doing fitness as a fitness competitor. And she wanted to actually really change things and become cut, lean, and healthy and really get lean. And I was like, oh, this is the perfect. You want to start ripping up and really looking good on stage. This is the way to do it. I'm very busy. I've got obviously a lot of things I'm up to and I'm working with. And definitely coached her through all the first part of it. And we were just not able to be in touch as much. And but I would touch base with her every now and again. She'd say she's doing great. Initially, she started to gain a little like puffiness, right? I saw her, she's like, I'm getting a little puffy. I said, that's very standard. Your body is throwing out all the toxins. It's detoxifying. The greens are great detoxifiers, so that's what you're getting, right? And I'll tell you, I just touching base, say, how are you doing? She said, I'm great. And then I'd say about 2 months later, I saw her. And she looked probably pretty big. Yeah, he's like, what's going on? Hey, how are you? And she said, I'm not so great. I've gained 10 pounds. So you gained 10 pounds on a raw vegan diet? Are you eating raw? Like, really? He's like, what are you like? This is like strange, But I think, so what are you eating? And one of the things she did, and I'm putting this out there to women because a lot of the raw food, they don't get this extreme, but a lot of women, vegan and vegetarian women, and raw foodist women, don't eat enough protein and don't get enough healthy fats and healthy sources of protein. And that turns out to be exactly what she did. She was getting her protein. She knew about that, but she said, I was avoiding all the nuts. I eat all the nuts and all the seeds. I don't count them or anything like that. I'm completely ripped up, all that good stuff. She wasn't doing that, okay? She was avoiding every possible ounce of fat she could possibly do. And I told her, you know, so the body is way smarter than us. What it did was just slow down her metabolism, and you could literally see it deposits it where it deposits fat on women, you know, in the hips and the thigh area, in the back of it. Like, and I was just like, oh, what did you do? Yeah, I couldn't, you know, in my mind I was thinking, oh my God, like it's a plant-based diet. There's very little fat there at all anyway. You need to literally I eat a spread that is full of healthy, raw, living fats. It's delicious, right? And so just the thing is, you know, women, if you're going to get into the vegetarian, vegan lifestyle, definitely make sure you're getting a healthy amount of protein and obviously a healthy amount of fats as well. Your body needs all the macronutrients as well as it needs the micronutrients. We have carbs. Your body's trying to turn carbs into glucose for the brain. It's trying to turn protein into amino acids to obviously develop the muscles and the various other organs it needs. And it's trying to turn the fats into essential fatty acids to lubricate and the hormones in the skin and pull out all the toxins that are in your body stored as fat as well. So you need all of those. Don't get into diets or anything that's going to allow you to limit or eliminate any of that stuff. Okay, so eat from nature, and that's the perfect way to do it.
And I'm so glad you shared that. I know, like I had mentioned this just briefly earlier, I literally was the poster child for non-fat, like a non-fat, like everything non-fat. I was so afraid of eating anything that had the littlest bit of fat because I was really under the misconception that I would get fat. I would gain weight.
Women have that conception, yes.
Really, because that's what society has kind of portrayed to us.
And honestly, you guys, your body naturally is going to attract more fat for, you know, reproductive purposes, just naturally more than we do, right? So women are very scared of it.
Yeah, don't be scared of it. Yeah, don't be scared of it.
As long as you're eating healthy, natural sources, don't be scared.
Don't be scared of it.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. So what I want to do, and this is a perfect place for us, we're not gonna stop the conversation. We're just gonna pause for a second because I know the next lead into this really is that we have the protein conversation to have, we have what foods to eat, we have the conversation between, you know, vegan and raw and all, but there's so much more. So I would love to have you come back, and we're going to talk about having you come back within the next couple of weeks, if that works for you. And we're going to literally we're going to lift up the pause button, and we're going to go ahead and continue this conversation because it's such a rich conversation. And I know my work is all about helping women to be the most beautiful and vibrant and radiant and youthful and sexy, you know, and undeniably so at every age. And so this conversation just dovetails into that because when women of any age can take on this conversation. I mean, we look at Mimi Kirk. I mean, Mimi Kirk is a perfect example. She's a rock.
Wow.
She's 70-something, and she's hot. She's this beautiful.
She is amazing. She's hot. She's amazing.
She's hot, you know? And then you look at, like, there's many, many women who are like that. So it's, I really want that for women because it's possible for all of us. And so this conversation is the perfect conversation to feed into what my message is and what my work is all about. So I can't wait to have you back, Kevin. This was so wonderful. It's so funny because Spirit always gives me my guests. I remember because, you know, you and I really have never even talked about what I knew that you were a raw bodybuilder, but I had no idea about all of this other information. It was so beautiful. You just said, yes, I'll come on the show. And now it's like I got to see, now I know my Spirit asked me to ask you because it's such a rich and important conversation for men and women both to hear. So thank you so much for being here today. It was wonderful.
I enjoyed it. I loved it. Thank you for having me. I'd be delighted to come back. Absolutely. Yeah.
Beautiful. So I'm going to post on the network, so everybody check there. I'll be posting on Facebook. But really, literally within the next couple of weeks, we're going to make sure that Kevin comes back and we're going to continue this conversation. So I can't wait, Kevin, to have you back. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you so much. And we will see you next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Dr. Elizabeth Show. Ciao, everybody.
Thanks, Dr. Elizabeth. Take care.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye.
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 You have been listening to an Awakening Zone presentation, Human Empowerment Radio and Media for the 21st Century and Beyond.